Ever wondered what really happens inside your body when you take testosterone?
Yeah, there's so much chatter out there, right? So many opinions.
Exactly. But, what do the actual scientific facts say?
Hmm.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into precisely that. What different doses of testosterone truly do to men's bodies?
Yeah, and our mission here is really to unpack a foundational, um, a really unique study from 2001.
Right, one that tackled this question head on. We want to give you the cold, hard data behind all those common assumptions.
And this isn't just any study. Our core source for this deep dive comes from a fantastic review by Nelson Virgil on the ExcelMale YouTube channel.
Okay.
He meticulously breaks down this pivotal 2001 paper by Dr. Shailender Bosson.
Boston. He's a big name in this field.
Absolutely. Published in the American Journal of Physiology, Endocrinology, and Metabolism. Boston is widely seen as one of the top researchers in androgens. And this specific study...
It's a gold mine,
Yeah.
seriously. Okay, let's unpack this then, because the design of this study is what makes it so incredibly rare, so important, even today.
Definitely. They gathered about 65 healthy young men, average age around 25.
These weren't like bodybuilders or anything?
No, not obese, not overly skinny, just, generally healthy guys.
Okay, then here's the absolute kicker, right? Before they even started dosing testosterone,
Yeah.
they blocked the men's natural testosterone production with an injection. What was the thinking behind that? Seems pretty dramatic.
Well, it's fascinating, really. By blocking their natural production, that the researchers created a clean slate.
Okay. So it takes individual variation out of the equation.
Exactly. It eliminated the variable of, some guys starting high, some low. It leveled the playing field.
Makes sense. So clean slate, then what?
Then they were given weekly testosterone injections. Different groups got different doses,
What kind of doses are we talking?
ranging from 25 milligrams, 50, 125, 300, and all the way up to 600 milligrams a week.
Wow, 600 milligrams. That's a serious dose. And how long did this go on?
For a full 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And this setup, it isolated the effects of the administered testosterone with incredible precision.
And the really remarkable part, the thing that makes this study almost a unicorn, even now,
Uh-huh.
for those entire 20 weeks, they were asked not to work out.
Right. Not a single gym session.
And their food intake was watched.
Carefully monitored, yeah. No significant changes allowed.
That level of control is just critical. It means any changes they saw were down to the testosterone itself, right? Not exercise, not diet.
Precisely. And that's why a high-dose testosterone blocking study like this is pretty much unheard of today.
Yeah, you probably couldn't get it approved easily now.
Problem not. Which makes these findings exceptionally valuable.
Okay, so with that groundbreaking design in mind, let's start where most people are probably curious. How did these different doses actually impact their hormone levels? What did the hormone report card show?
Well, what's immediately striking is how much administered testosterone was actually needed just to get back to their normal levels.
Wait, really?
For the group on the lowest dose, just 25 milligrams per week, their total testosterone levels actually decreased
Decreased. Below their starting point.
significantly. They dropped from a healthy baseline, around 593 nanograms per deciliter, way down to about 253.
Wow, okay. And the 50 milligram dose.
Still resulted in levels well below their natural starting point.
So a low dose didn't just fail to help, it actually made things worse in terms of their total T levels after being blocked.
That's what the data showed, yeah.
That completely flies in the face of what many might assume. Why is this underdosing effect so critical?
It's a huge revelation, honestly. It highlights that just adding a small amount of external testosterone after you shut down natural production isn't simple math.
It's not just adding on top.
No.
Yeah.
It seems there's a threshold you need to cross. In this study, you needed around 125 milligrams per week just to bring total testosterone back to roughly baseline levels.
So 125 milligrams to get back to the 500s or 600s in GDL for these young guys.
Pretty much, yeah. Then as you move into what some might call, bodybuilding doses.
Like the 300 and 600.
Right. 300 milligrams per week raised levels to around 1,300 in GDL.
Okay, definitely above normal range.
And 600 milligrams per week pushed them even higher to about 2,300 in GDL.
2,300, that's quite high. Super physiological.
Definitely. And these higher doses showed a very clear, statistically significant effect.
And what about free testosterone, the usable stuff?
Well, that's kind of a no-brainer. As the total testosterone dose went up, so did free testosterone. Makes sense.
Okay. But what about SHBG? Sex hormone-binding globulin, the stuff that locks up testosterone?
Ah, yeah, that's interesting too. The study showed that SHBG actually decreased as the testosterone dose increased.
So less binding protein.
Exactly. With a particularly noticeable drop, statistically significant, at the 300 and 600 milligram doses.
Which means more free T.
Precisely. Not only was there more total testosterone floating around, but a greater proportion of it was also freely available for the body to actually use.
Gotcha. Now, here's maybe a surprising one. IGF-1, related to growth hormone. You'd think it would go up with T, especially if people were hitting the weights. But these guys weren't. So what happened with IGF-1?
This is where it gets quite interesting. The study found no clear, measurable difference for IGF-1 at the lower doses, 25, 50, or even 125 milligrams.
Oh, wait. No change.
Not statistically significant, no. However, it did significantly increase at the higher doses.
The 300 and 600 again?
That's right. Which is fascinating because, like you said, they weren't working out at all.
It makes you wonder, right? What would happen if they were doing resistance training?
Exactly. The effect might have been even more profound. It suggests T alone can drive IGF-1 up at higher doses.
Okay, so testosterone alone is powerful stuff internally. We've seen how it reshapes the hormone profile. But what about the changes everyone sees?
The physical transformations.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Even without hitting the gym, this is where it gets really interesting for a lot of people listening.
Indeed. Looking at body composition, fat-free mass, which is basically your lean mass muscle organs.
Right.
It showed impressive improvements. It started to increase significantly around that 125 milligrams per week mark.
The same dose needed to get T levels back to baseline.
Yeah, and it continued to climb with the higher doses, a clear dose-dependent effect of testosterone on lean mass.
So just the testosterone, no lifting, was clearly building lean mass. What about the flip side, fat mass?
Fat mass actually decreased with increasing testosterone dose.
Okay, that makes sense. More T, less fat.
But here's that critical, almost counterintuitive insight again. For the lowest doses, the 25 and 50 milligrams,
Yeah.
fat mass actually increased.
Increase, so they gained fat on low-dose T.
In this specific context, yes. It truly suggests that underdosing, after shutting down natural T, might paradoxically do more harm than good for body composition.
Wow. That's a huge point. It's not just about not getting results, you might get negative results.
Potentially, yeah, in that specific scenario.
Okay. And did they look closer, like with MRI scans? Was this lean mass gain real muscle or just, water weight?
Good question. They did use MRI measurements of thigh muscle volume. Clear evidence. A noticeable, significant difference in thigh muscle volume was seen starting at 125 milligrams per week.
So real muscle growth.
Yep. And further, substantial increases at the higher doses. Again, zero gym workouts. It just underscores the potent anabolic effect of testosterone itself.
And the water question.
Right. While total body water did go up with the dose, which you'd expect, the study clarified that the ratio of total water to fat-free mass percentage didn't show a clear, significant difference.
Weird.
Meaning the gains were primarily genuine lean mass, not just the scale going up because of water.
Okay, that's important. And it wasn't just size, was it? Did strength actually improve?
Absolutely. This is pretty remarkable, too. Leg press strength and power showed very strong, statistically significant increases.
At which doses?
At both 300 and 600 milligrams per week.
Even with no training, they got stronger just from the T.
That's what the data shows. All without reported workouts. When you look at the big picture, it's a profound, direct impact of testosterone on functional strength, independent of exercise.
That's wild. Truly a testament to the hormone's power.
It really is.
Fascinating. Okay, so testosterone, even solo without the gym, is a powerful body transformer. But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about areas where people often assume testosterone is some kind of magic bullet. Sex drive, desire, maybe even brain function.
Right.
What did this study uncover there? Any surprises for you?
This is where it gets really counterintuitive for many people. Surprisingly, when they looked at questionnaires about daily sexual activity scores.
Yeah, like frequency.
Sort of, yeah. Those scores didn't show any statistically significant changes across any of the dose groups.
No change at any dose, even 600 milligrams.
Not a significant one, no. In fact, for some individuals or metrics, it seemed to even slightly decrease at the higher doses.
Decrease. That's definitely not the common narrative.
Not at all. It really makes you pause. Now, we have to acknowledge limitations, right?
Sure. Like what?
Relatively small sample size, maybe 12 guys per group for some of these measures. And crucially, that initial testosterone blockade.
Ah, right. Starting from 0T might really impact sexual function baselines for these young guys.
It could definitely influence it, yeah. Makes it hard to compare directly to someone just adding T without being blocked first.
Okay. What about libido itself, like the intensity of sexual desire?
Libido showed some improvement trends at the 300 and 600 milligram doses.
Some improvement.
Yeah, but the change wasn't strong enough statistically. We can't say with confidence it was definitely the testosterone and not just random chance or variation.
So maybe a hint of an effect at high doses, but not conclusive.
Exactly. And interestingly, mirroring the fat mass finding, libido seemed to actually decrease at the lower doses, the 25 and 50 milligram.
Again, the low doses showing negative effects.
Seems like it, yeah. That initial T blocking really sets a unique stage here, makes interpreting the libido results tricky.
Okay. And what about something like cognition, brain function? Any measurable change in how sharp they were?
No.
Hmm.
This was another surprise, perhaps. Cognition showed no change at all.
None, across any dose.
Across any of the doses tested, at least within the limits of their sample size and the tests they used. Nothing significant.
That's a crucial counterpoint, isn't it, to the idea that T just boosts everything.
It really is. It's easy to assume it's a fix-all, but this study delivers a surprising dose of reality there.
So despite these massive physical changes, more muscle, less fat, more strength,
Yeah, huge changes.
the impact on everyday sexual activity and cognition was, well, surprisingly muted, or maybe even non-existent in this specific study setup.
That's a fair summary, yeah.
Yeah.
Much less clear-cut than the physical effects.
Okay. Now, no intervention, especially one this potent, comes without potential downsides or trade-offs.
Absolutely not.
Let's talk about the health implications. What happened with their blood work at these different doses?
This is crucial for the full picture. The study showed that markers related to blood thickness,
Like hemoglobin and hematocrit.
exactly, hemoglobin, red blood cells, hematocrit, they all increased as the testosterone dose went higher.
Which can make the blood thicker, potentially raising clot risk.
That's the concern, yeah. There's still ongoing discussion, about the highest healthy number for hematocrit before cardiovascular issues might arise.
What numbers are usually discussed?
Often around 50–53%, but honestly, robust data defining a precise, dangerous threshold is still kind of scarce. It's debated.
Okay. And what about PSA? Prostate-specific antigen, often a concern with T therapy, especially for older guys.
Right. In this study, PSA didn't change much at all.
Why not?
Probably due to the participants being young, average age 25, and having low baseline PSA levels to begin with.
So no major red flags there for this specific group of young men.
Correct. Good news on that front.
But, okay, what's the significant price to pay you mentioned? The big trade-off for those higher doses, especially regarding heart health.
Here's a key one. HDL cholesterol, the so-called good cholesterol. It significantly decreased as the testosterone dose went up.
Lower HDL is not good for heart health.
Not generally, no. This is a pretty well-documented trade-off with higher testosterone levels, whether therapeutic or otherwise.
Okay, so pulling this together, increased blood thickness markers, decreased good cholesterol, what does this mean for overall cardiovascular risk?
But when you combine those factors, the rising hemoglobin and hematocrit making blood potentially thicker, alongside that noticeable drop in HDL and higher doses, it clearly starts to elevate cardiovascular risk.
Right.
It just underscores how crucial it is to monitor these markers closely. For anyone on testosterone, really, but particularly at higher doses, you have to watch and manage those potential trade-offs.
Absolutely. So let's try and synthesize this. What does all of this really mean for you listening, or maybe for the future of research? This deep dive into Dr. Bison's 2001 study. It offers truly foundational insights. It really is. We learned, what doses are actually needed just to get back to baseline T levels after suppression. Around 125 milligrams in this case.
Yeah, which was surprising in itself.
And the impressive muscle and strength gains, even without a single workout.
Remarkable, the power of the hormone itself.
Then there's the unexpected lack of significant change in everyday sexual function or cognition, at least in this setup.
A real head-scratcher for some, maybe. Definitely counters common assumptions.
And finally, those important health trade-offs, particularly with HDL, cholesterol, and blood thickness that come with the higher doses.
And can't ignore those risks, yeah.
And the legacy of this study, it feels profound, partly because, as you said, its design was so unique.
Exactly. Blocking natural T first, administering high doses, monitoring closely without exercise.
It's the kind of research we probably will never see anything quite like again, right?
I think that's fair to say. There's just, more stigma, more logistical hurdles, more hang-ups about research of this type today.
Which makes these findings incredibly valuable, maybe even irreplaceable in some ways.
I'd agree with that.
So, thinking about all this, if this foundational study revealed so much about testosterone's effects, even without exercise, what further questions does it raise for you? About the optimal approach to hormone therapy or performance enhancement, especially when you factor in individual goals, health risks, and all the real-world complexities that a controlled study like this, by design, had to simplify.
That's the big question, isn't it? How do you apply these controlled findings to the messy real world? It certainly gives you a lot to think about.